So, for centuries, the absolute pinnacle of watchmaking was, just getting a tiny metal spring to unwind at exactly the right speed.
Right. Yeah, that was basically the whole ball game.
Exactly. I mean, the entire goal of millions of hours of incredible mechanical engineering was just to tell you where you were in the day.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful mechanical marvel, certainly. But its job was entirely passive.
Right. Right.
A traditional watch just sort of sits there and, well, observes time passing on your behalf.
Today, though, we are digging into some source material that argues the modern watch doesn't just observe time anymore. I mean, it observes us.
It really does.
Yeah, so we are taking a deep dive into the insights from an article titled "The Benefits of Using an Apple Watch, a New Way of Living on Your Wrist." And okay, let's unpack this, because they aren't just calling this a cool gadget.
No, not at all.
Right, they are making this massive, overarching claim about a completely new way of living.
And when you really look at the architecture of the shift they're describing,
Yeah.
well, that bold claim actually starts to hold water.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we are moving away from the era of the passive fashion accessory, and we're entering this era of the active, tech-driven lifestyle tool.
A completely different category, really.
Exactly. And I would actually encourage you, listening right now, to think about your own relationship with whatever wearable technology you might use.
That's a good point.
Like, are you wearing something on your wrist that simply tells you the time? Or is it an active participant in how you manage your biology, your attention, and your focus?
I think that distinction, between passive and active is just crucial, because if this smartwatch represents a new way of living, well, the most critical part of that is quite literally keeping us alive.
Literally, yes.
The article leans heavily into the device's advanced health monitoring system, and it's not just counting steps anymore.
No, we are seeing clinical level metrics moving out of the hospital room and directly onto the user's wrist.
Which is wild to think about.
It really is. Historically, you go to a doctor maybe once a year for a physical, right?
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Right. And they take a snapshot of your heart rate and your oxygen levels at that exact single moment. But it's an incredibly limited data set, and it's highly contextual.
Oh, totally. It's a snapshot taken while you're probably stressed out about being at the doctor's office in the first place.
Exactly, the white coat syndrome.
Yeah, you've got the paper gown crinkling, you're worrying about the copay, maybe you, rush to find parking.
Right.
That is hardly an accurate picture of your day-to-day cardiovascular health.
And what's fascinating here is how this technology shifts our understanding of health from that annual isolated checkup to a continuous real-time baseline.
A baseline that's just always running.
Exactly. The source outlines how the watch provides continuous heart rate monitoring that can actually detect irregularities in the background.
Oh.
Yeah. And it features an ECG, an electrocardiogram.
Okay, wait, I want to pause on that for a second, because people hear ECG and they just think of a standard heart rate monitor.
Right, like the ones at the gym.
Exactly. But it's fundamentally different, isn't it? Like, it's not just feeling the pulse of blood pumping.
No, it's measuring the actual electrical activity of your heart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it records the timing and the strength of the electrical signals that actually make your heart beat. And alongside that, it's tracking your blood oxygen saturation levels.
Which honestly just sounds like magic to me.
It does seem like it.
Like, how does a piece of glass and metal sitting on top of your skin actually know how much oxygen is inside your veins?
Well, it really comes down to optics. The watch basically shines red and infrared light through your skin and into your blood vessels.
Okay.
And then sensors measure how much of that light reflects back. So oxygen-rich blood is bright red, meaning it reflects more red light and absorbs infrared light.
Right, that makes sense.
And blood with lower oxygen is darker, so it absorbs more red light and reflects more infrared.
So it's just reading the light.
Pretty much. The device is essentially doing this complex math on light reflection to calculate the oxygen saturation in your bloodstream, all while you are just, sitting on the couch reading a book.
Okay, establishing that continuous invisible baseline is incredible.
It really is.
But what happens when something violently interrupts that baseline? Because the feature that really stood out to me in this article is fall detection.
Oh, yes.
The source explains that the watch can automatically alert emergency services if you take a hard fall. It's almost like having a tiny, silent paramedic strapped to your wrist.
That's a great way to put it.
But how does it actually know I fell down the stairs versus, say, giving someone a really aggressive high five?
Well, that is where the internal mechanics become absolutely vital. It's not just looking for any sudden movement.
Right.
The watch uses a built-in gyroscope and an accelerometer. So the algorithms are constantly analyzing your wrist trajectory and the impact acceleration.
Oh, so it knows the angle and the speed.
Exactly. It can distinguish the specific physics of a brutal, unintended fall to the ground from the physics of a vigorous high five. Or, I don't know, chopping onions in the kitchen.
That is seriously impressive.
And if it detects that specific impact signature and you remain completely motionless afterward, well, then it initiates the emergency protocol.
So it basically bridges the gap between a medical emergency occurring and emergency services being notified, even if the user is completely knocked unconscious.
Precisely.
But, I mean, I have to push back on this whole concept just a bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
Does having constant access to your ECG and your blood oxygen levels and, a fall detection alarm on your wrist, doesn't that make people hyperfixate on their health?
That's a really common concern, yeah.
Like, does this actually bring peace of mind, or does it just turn us into a society of hypochondriacs who are constantly staring at our wrists, waiting for a medical catastrophe?
Well, this shift from passive to active technology forces us to navigate that exact tension, for sure. However, the logic presented in the source material frames this not as a tool for generating anxiety, but rather as an invisible safety net.
An invisible safety net.
Yeah, the goal isn't for the user to constantly worry about their heartbeat or their oxygen levels. The goal is that the watch is doing the worrying for them.
Ah, I see. So it's offloading the cognitive burden.
Precisely. You only get alerted if a dangerous irregularity is actually detected or if a hard fall happens.
Okay.
So for the vast majority of people, just knowing that background monitoring is happening creates a profound sense of security. You don't have to be on high alert because the device is...
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You don't look at the parachute the whole time you're flying. You just know it's there.
Exactly.
But keeping you safe in a crisis is one thing. The watch is collecting all this passive health data, but data is completely useless if it doesn't actually change human behavior, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So how does this device actually get us off the couch?
Well, that requires moving from reactive safety features to proactive physical and mental well-being. The watch isn't just a passive measuring tape. It is designed with behavioral psychology in mind to actively motivate the user.
Yeah, the source breaks down the activity rings feature, which, keeps a running count of your movement, your exercise, and your standing time throughout the entire day.
Right, those famous 3 rings.
But I want to dig into why this works, because on the surface, it just looks like a colorful graphic. Why are people so obsessed with closing these little digital circles?
It leverages a psychological concept known as the Zeigarnik effect.
The Zeigarnik effect.
Yeah. Human beings have this natural tendency to remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks far better than completed ones.
Oh, interesting.
So when we see an incomplete circle on our wrist, it creates a subtle psychological tension. We inherently want resolution. We just want to close the loop.
So it's not just like gamifying fitness. It's basically using our own psychology against us, but, for our own good.
Yeah.
You see that the green exercise ring is only 80% complete, and that unresolved tension literally compels you to take a 20-minute walk around the neighborhood just to finish it off and get the little celebratory animation.
Right. It turns abstract fitness goals like, I want to be healthier, into immediate, actionable visual feedback.
That is so smart.
And the source mentions it pairs this with dedicated workout modes too. So whether you are swimming, cycling, or doing yoga, the device is tracking the specific mechanics of that activity.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting for me, though.
Okay.
The article doesn't stop at physical fitness. It bridges right over into mental well-being.
Yes, it does.
We're talking about a dedicated mindfulness app, guided breathing exercises, stress tracking, and even the ability to log your daily mood.
Which is a huge shift.
Usually we treat the gym and our mental well-being as 2 completely different universes. Yeah. What happens when we put them on the exact same screen?
Well, historically, separating the mind and the body has done us a major disservice. They're deeply entangled systems.
Right, of course.
So what this source material points to is the holistic picture that emerges when you put movement tracking and mindfulness features on the exact same interface.
So you can actually start to see the crossover between the 2.
Exactly. Because knowledge is most valuable when it is understood and applied.
Yeah.
When you are logging your mood daily and tracking your stress while simultaneously tracking your physical exercise, the invisible patterns of your life finally become visible.
Wow, okay.
You might notice how a closed exercise ring on Tuesday correlates with a much better mood log on Tuesday night. or how a day where the device noted high physiological stress aligns perfectly with the day you skipped your workout.
So it provides the raw data so you can actually understand the causality in your own life.
Yes.
You aren't just guessing why you feel sluggish or anxious. You have the receipts right there on your wrist.
It really gives the user agency over their own habits.
So this tiny wrist computer is intricately managing our internal world, like our biological metrics, our physical fitness, our emotional moods. But how does it change how we interact with the external world? Because this leads us directly to the smartphone.
Ah, yes. The smartphone.
We all know the smartphone is basically the remote control for modern life, but it's also a massive black hole for our attention.
It is. And the source highlights the watch's cellular capabilities as a countermeasure to that black hole.
Okay.
With a cellular model, you can make calls, send messages, or reach out for help in an emergency without your phone anywhere nearby.
They specifically point out how incredibly useful this is for running or swimming.
Right.
But I look at this as something much bigger than just workout convenience. It's the decoupling of connection from the screen.
I agree completely. It allows you to be reachable without being available to the digital slot machine of apps on your phone.
The digital slot machine, I love that.
Yeah, you sever that physical tether to the heavy glass screen, but you still maintain the vital lines of communication.
Which is freeing.
Very. You can step out into the physical world, go for a walk, or go to the grocery store without the modern anxiety of being totally unreachable in an emergency.
The article also emphasizes the saving time aspect, getting notifications, calendar reminders, weather updates, and directions directly on your wrist.
Yes, all those little conveniences.
The claim is that this reduces the need to constantly pull your phone out of your pocket, making it easier to stay focused.
Right.
But I have a major critical observation here.
Okay, let's examine it.
Honestly, isn't putting notifications directly onto our skin just bringing the digital distraction literally closer to us?
It sounds like it would, yeah.
If my phone buzzing in my pocket is distracting, having a device physically tap my wrist every single time someone emails me seems like it would destroy my focus completely.
Intuitively, yeah. It feels like strapping a notification machine to your body would be the ultimate distraction.
Yeah.
But the dynamic at play is actually quite different.
Okay.
It's framed in the article as an attention filter, or a triage system.
But how does that actually work in practice, though? Like, if I'm getting tapped on the wrist, I am being interrupted.
You are being interrupted, sure, but you are not being captured.
Captured.
Yeah. Think about the mechanics of checking a smartphone.
Yeah.
What actually happens when you pull your phone out of your pocket just to check one single text message?
Well, I check the text message, then I have 3 unread emails, so I check those.
Right.
Then I open a social media app just for a second to see what's happening. And 20 minutes later, I'm standing in my kitchen having completely forgotten that I was supposed to be making dinner.
Exactly. The phone is an immersive environment actively designed to pull you in and hold your attention.
Yeah.
The gravity well of those apps is immense.
So true.
The watch bypasses that gravity well entirely. When you receive a tap on your wrist, you just glance at it.
Okay.
If it's a calendar reminder for a meeting starting in 5 minutes, you acknowledge it. If it's a random promotional email, you ignore it and drop your wrist. The entire interaction takes 2 seconds.
Oh, I see. So it's an attention triage. I am not ignoring the digital world. I'm just filtering out the junk before it forces me to pick up my phone and fall down a rabbit hole.
Right. It replaces the heavy, immersive digital experience of the phone with light, transient touch points.
I like that. Transient touch points.
It intercepts the distraction, allows you to triage what matters, and lets you immediately return your focus to your actual physical environment.
But for a device to act as an effective attention filter, it can't just be an isolated island. It has to talk to everything else you own.
Absolutely.
And the article spends significant time diving into the seamless Apple ecosystem integration.
Right. For users already within that ecosystem, using an iPhone, a Mac, or an iPad, the watch basically acts as the invisible web holding the whole experience together.
Yeah, they list features like Apple Pay, Find My iPhone, music control, and even using the watch as a remote shutter for your phone's camera.
Such a handy feature.
It's essentially a master key to your digital life. But, we assume everyone listening knows that you can use Apple Pay on a smartwatch. The bigger question is why these specific features are highlighted as a new way of living.
Well, it really comes down to the psychology of friction.
Friction.
Yeah. Human behavior is heavily governed by the path of least resistance. We naturally gravitate toward whatever requires the absolute minimum amount of effort.
Right. If I'm at the grocery store Paying with cash requires digging in my pocket, counting bills, and waiting for change.
Which takes time.
Paying with a physical credit card requires digging for a wallet, finding the specific card, inserting the chip, and waiting for the prompt. That is all friction.
Exactly. But if the transaction just requires holding your wrist near a payment terminal as you walk past, the friction is almost entirely eliminated.
It's just seamless.
The ecosystem integration detailed in the source isn't just about software talking to software. Pinging a lost iPhone that's buried in the couch cushions from your wrist, or setting up your phone for a group photo and tapping your wrist to take the picture.
Right.
These are micro-barrier removals. By systematically removing these tiny points of friction in everyday physical tasks, the device becomes indispensable to the user's daily flow.
And speaking of the physical aspects of everyday life, we really cannot ignore the physical object itself.
We can't.
The article makes a very specific point to emphasize personalization and style.
Yes, it does.
It highlights the wide range of bands, the different watch face designs, and the customization options that let it fit into both formal settings and the gym.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this stylistic personalization matters just as much as the internal clinical-grade technology.
Wait, really? You think the ability to swap out a leather band matters as much as a sensor that can measure blood oxygen saturation using infrared light?
I do, absolutely. Because a wearable device is fundamentally different from a laptop or a smartphone.
How so?
You literally wear it on your body. It is visible to the world at all times. So it is an immediate statement of personal fashion.
That's a fair point.
Historically, highly capable technology has been incredibly clunky, plastic, and utilitarian. What we are seeing here is the ultimate convergence of fashion and utility.
So it's basically social camouflage.
That is a perfect way to describe it. People are willing to wear a powerful piece of technology to a formal dinner, a wedding, or a crucial business meeting.
Places where a plastic neon fitness tracker would look completely out of place.
Exactly. Because they can customize it. They can swap a rubber sports band for a sleek metal bracelet and change a digital activity display to a classic minimalist analog face.
So it adapts to the social context of the user. It looks like a classic, elegant timepiece when you're at a black tie event, but it is still silently tracking your heart rate in the background.
Yep. The user never has to take it off.
That's brilliant, honestly.
The widespread adoption of this technology is largely driven by the fact that it doesn't force the user to compromise their personal style in order to reap all the benefits of the health tracking, the productivity, and the connectivity.
Okay, let's step back and look at the entire picture we've painted today based on this deep dive into the source material.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. What we're seeing is that this device has completely transcended its original purpose of just telling time. It is a multifaceted tool for continuous health awareness.
For physical safety, too, through features like fall detection.
Right. And for behavioral motivation via the activity rings, and for staying connected without being glued to a screen.
And the article concludes that for anyone looking to combine a tech-driven lifestyle with better health and everyday convenience, well, it is a truly worthwhile investment.
Certainly sounds like it.
When you look at the sheer breadth of its capabilities, and how it removes friction from almost every facet of daily life, it fundamentally changes how users move through the world.
It genuinely is a new way of living on your wrist.
It really is.
So for you listening right now, think about everything we just discussed. Which aspect of this deep dive stood out to you the most?
There are a lot of angles to consider.
Are you most fascinated by the mechanics of the tiny, silent wrist paramedic calculating your blood oxygen? Or maybe the psychological shift of that digital attention filter that rescues you from the endless scrolling of your phone.
Or maybe it's the frictionless integration into everything else you do.
Right.
This actually raises one final important question, and it's something I want to leave you with to mull over or explore on your own.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
If our devices now intimately track the invisible rhythms of our electrical heartbeats, the depth and quality of our sleep, and the daily fluctuations of our physical and emotional stress, how might that redefine what it means to truly know ourselves in the future?
Wow. That's deep.
Could a piece of wearable technology eventually process all of those continuous baselines and know we're getting sick? Or that we are on the verge of complete burnout before our own conscious brains even realize it?
A watch realizing we are exhausted before we do. That changes the definition of self-awareness completely.
Doesn't it?
We started this conversation talking about how old mechanical watches just passively ticked away the hours. It turns out the ultimate evolution of the watch isn't about tracking the time of day anymore.
No, it's not.
It's about tracking the actual quality of our lives.